So about a month or two before the season started, I made a video talking about 8 NHL players who I thought needed to bounce back the most in 2021. And now I feel like we are far enough into the season as to where we can start to talk about some players who are in fact bouncing back. So that is going to be the topic of today's video. This entire list actually only consists of forwards and a couple of goaltenders. I couldn't really think of any defensemen. You could give an honorable mention to Tyson Barrie, but he has still been pretty miserable defensively this season. So if you guys have any defensemen in mind that you think are really bouncing back this season, be sure to let me know down below in the comment section. Before we go any further, be sure to go follow my social medias like Instagram and Twitter. Links to those will as always be down below in the description. And most importantly, if this is your first time on the channel and you want to see more NHL content just like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And now let's go over 8 NHL players who are bouncing back this season. Starting the video off at number 1, this is a pretty obvious one, Josh Anderson of the Montreal Canadiens. He's actually the only player we're going to talk about in this video who was also in the video I made before the season started on players who I thought needed to bounce back the most. He is definitely having a bounce back year. I mean, it would have been hard not to. He had just 1 goal in 26 games last season, but so far he's been real solid for Montreal. He's got 9 goals in 19 games, which is second on the team, only behind Tyler Toffoli, and he's got 12 total points, which currently sits him 5th on the team in scoring behind Drouin, Suzuki, Toffoli, and Petrie. It's pretty crazy how quickly everybody's opinions have changed on the Domi for Anderson trade. When it initially happened, the general consensus was that Columbus fleeced the Montreal Canadiens, getting that much value in exchange for somebody who, like I just said, had 1 goal in 26 games the year prior. And it's still very, very early. We're not even half of a season into these two players playing for their new teams, but when you compare how Josh Anderson is playing in Montreal to how Max Domi is playing in Columbus, it really isn't close. Max Domi has not given the Blue Jackets much at all. He's got just 7 points in 24 games and is a team worst -11. He's gotten benched already this season. Again, it is still very, very, very early. I can't stress that enough, but the Montreal Canadiens have to be pretty happy with how things have worked out for them so far when it comes to this trade. Number 2, MarcAndre Fleury, goaltender for the Vegas Golden Knights. I want to start by saying I don't think MarcAndre Fleury was awful last season for Vegas, but he was below league average. He finished the 1920 season posting a 27-16-5 record, a 2.77 goals against average, and just a .905 save percentage, which was actually the lowest save percentage he had put up in a single season since 2010. Fleury had sort of lost the starting job to Robin Lehner. There was the whole thing of Fleury's agent posting that photo of the sword going through Fleury's back with DeBoer's name on it. With Fleury being 36 years old, there was reason to believe that maybe he just wasn't a starting caliber goaltender anymore. But boy, has he ever put that theory to rest. This season, Fleury has been one of the best goaltenders in the entire league. He is definitely an early season Vezina candidate. He's got a 10-3 record with a 1.77 goals against average and a .935 save percentage. He's also got a goals saved above average of 10, which puts him second in the entire league, only behind Vasilevsky, and he's also tied for the league lead in shutouts with 3. Fleury is not just bouncing back, he's actually on pace to have the best season of his career by a mile. Moving along now, at number 3, we have Vincent Trocheck, centerman for the Carolina Hurricanes. He was one of the league's biggest breakout players back in the 2017-18 season when he was still a member of the Panthers. At the age of just 24, he broke out for 31 goals and 75 points in just 82 games. He was second on the Panthers in scoring that season, only behind Barkov. And then the past 2 seasons, middling results for Trocheck, I would say. He got traded to the Carolina Hurricanes at last year's NHL trade deadline. In the games he played for the Hurricanes in the regular season after the deadline, he didn't really produce all that much, and he didn't really give them anything in the bubble either. But so far this season, we are seeing the best version of Vincent Trocheck since the 2017-18 season. He has been a beast for Carolina. He leads the team in goals currently with 12 in just 21 games, and has 19 total points, which is second on the team, only behind Sebastian Aho. If Trocheck continues to produce this way throughout the entire season, he may have one of the most team-friendly deals in in the entire league, just a cap of $4.75 million through this season and next. With the way Trocheck has been playing so far this season, Carolina has some of the best center depth in the entire league, at least right now anyways. Aho, Trocheck, and Jordan Staal have all been fantastic. Next up at number 4, we have Joe Pavelski of the Dallas Stars. This is one that maybe we should have seen coming. Probably not to this extent, but after a pretty mediocre first season in Dallas, the first season of a pretty lucrative contract, Joe Pavelski absolutely turned it on and was a complete beast for Dallas in their 2020 playoff run. Safe to say Joe Pavelski has carried that momentum over from the 2020 playoffs to this regular season. In just 17 games, he's already got 10 goals, which leads the Stars in that category, and also 20 total points, which leads the Stars in that category as well. 36 years young, and Joe Pavelski is on pace to put up the best points per game in a single season of his entire career. He's actually never finished a season over a point per game. This could be the first. Hopefully the rest of the Dallas Stars can turn it on, because I don't know about you guys, but I want to see a little bit more of playoff Joe Pavelski this spring. Continuing on now at number 5, one of the players that were spoiled in the thumbnail, James Van Riemsdyk of the Philadelphia Flyers. Now Van Riemsdyk's numbers weren't awful last season. He still had 19 goals and 40 points in just 66 games, but overall it was a pretty weird up and down season. He spent a lot of time playing on the third and fourth line, had a lot of cold streaks, didn't really give the Flyers much of anything at all in the bubble, and when you consider the fact that he has a $7 million cap hit, that's just not good enough. This offseason, there was talk about him being a potential buyout candidate for the Flyers. How would Philly get rid of this contract? Well, I can tell you what, if he continues to play like this, you're not going to hear anyone talking about those things anymore. He is leading the team with 26 points in 19 games. He's top 10 in the entire NHL in scoring. JVR has definitely been a very pleasant surprise for the Flyers so far this season, and when you think about Philly and who would be their leading scorer, you would think it would be somebody like Giroux, Couturier, Konechny, maybe Voracek, but none of those guys are even top 2 on the team in scoring. Like I said, JVR is leading the way, and then in second you have Joel Farabee with 19 points in 19 games. Talk about pleasant surprises. Moving along to number 6 now, we have Alex DeBrincat of the Chicago Blackhawks. A lot of things are going right for the Hawks so far this season. You got all the rookies coming in and surprising everybody, Patrick Kane playing at an MVP level, and then you got Alex DeBrincat having a huge bounce back season. I feel like he's sort of flying under the radar just because of everything else that's going on with the Hawks right now, but DeBrincat is amongst the NHL's leading scorers. He currently sits 9th in total points with 25 in 19 games, and he's already got 11 goals, just 7 more, and he ties his total from last season where he had 18 in 70 games. The chemistry that DeBrincat and Kane have developed is extremely fun to watch, that is when it isn't being displayed against your favorite team. In the games that the Blackhawks have played against the Red Wings this season, and there's been a lot of them, all I could do when DeBrincat and Kane are out there together is hold my breath. They are dangerous whenever they touch the puck. It's honestly pretty insane what the Blackhawks have been doing this season without Kirby Dach and their captain Jonathan Toews, and Alex DeBrincat has been a massive part of it. Number 7 now, the second and final goaltender we're going to talk about in today's video, Laurent Brossoit of the Winnipeg Jets. Now, yes, he is a low profile player. I mean, he's a backup goaltender, but heading into the season, I did think it was relatively important that he bounced back, because while yes, Connor Hellebuyck is a fantastic goaltender and they can rely on him a ton, he cannot play every single game. You have to be able to rest Hellebuyck and still be confident in your goaltending and be able to win games while Hellebuyck isn't playing. That definitely was not the case last season though. Brossoit had a negative record, his statistics were not good, overall just a really bad season. This year, however, it has been a completely different story. Laurent Brossoit has been great. He just had another really good game last night against the Canucks, which gives him a record of 4-1 on the season. He's got a 2.19 goals against average and a .936 save percentage. He's also in the top 10 in the NHL in both goals saved above average and goals saved above expected. Again, like I said, yes, he is just a backup goaltender, but he has been a pretty big reason as to why the Winnipeg Jets are currently where they are, sitting second place in the North Division. And now for number 8, the final player we're going to talk about in today's video, Matt Zuccarello of the Minnesota Wild. Zuccarello is another guy in this list that wasn't awful last season, but when you consider the fact that it was the first year of a pretty lucrative contract for him, it was, I would say, pretty disappointing. disappointing. He had just 37 points in 65 games. Just solely based off of offense, it was one of the least productive seasons of Matt Zuccarello's NHL career, and given his age, and again, like I said, that being the first year of a pretty big contract, it wasn't a good sign. This season, however, although he has only appeared in 8 games, I think it's safe to say Zuccarello is bouncing back. He's already got 3 goals and 8 assists for 11 total points. He's already tied for 4th on the Minnesota Wild in scoring, even though he's played a lot less games than everybody else on the team, and over the past couple of weeks, himself, Victor Rask, and Kirill Kaprizov have honestly been one of the better lines in the entire league. Wild fans have to be extremely pleased with what they've seen from their team so far this season. They're 6 games over 500, and they're actually ahead of the Colorado Avalanche in the standings. Very impressive. So that is going to do it for today's video. Those were 8 NHL players who are bouncing back this season. If there are any players that you think are having a bounce back season that we did not talk about in today's video, be sure to let me know who those players are down below in the comment section. If you guys did enjoy today's video, please be sure to leave it a like. That is the best way to show your support. And most importantly, if this was your first time checking out the channel and you liked what you saw and you want to see more NHL content just like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will talk to you all in the next video.